Hey, everybody, welcome back to Think Like a CEO Live with my December co-host, Ish. Ish, good to see you.
Good
And
morning.
looking forward to talking with founder and CEO Justin Breen of BrEpic Communications. Justin, it's great to connect with you. Our buddy Brian connected us. Quick talk about you and your company. You grow business brands with expert social media postings, crafting click-worthy stories crafted by local, regional, and national media. But you really separate yourself because you're a premium PR and life-changing connections company exclusively for visionaries and exceptional businesses. And you are not only that, but you're also an author. But you have a really just kind of, I think, fresh way of looking at how you do things within BrEpic Communications. So before we get started, I just would love you to kind of give a, quick gist of, how you look at communications, especially in a post-COVID world.
Yeah, so I appreciate you having me on this morning. Welcome to my basement. And so since I started my company 3.5 years ago with zero business background, didn't know what an entrepreneur was, didn't know what an LLC was, none of that. And so now I have a global company that only works with the top mindset people in the world. So how did that happen? How did that happen? So what I found is right mindset leads to the right network, creates the right opportunities. All this other stuff, whatever. But if you have the right mindset, it attracts the right people, creates the right opportunities. And so I'm 100% simplifier, 100%, and I can talk to someone and see a pattern. And so since starting my company, I've talked to thousands of the top entrepreneurs in the world, and I just saw the pattern of what it takes to create a successful global company. And this is all it is. This is the formula: is you see a problem, you create a solution, problem solve, successful global company. And that's all I've done with my company. I was a journalist for 20 years, created my entire business model based on how PR firms annoyed me for 20 years. Saw a problem, created a solution, problem solve, successful global company. So clients around the world, all verticals, all sizes, none of that matters because my company solves the problem. So there you go.
How do you solve a problem today? Right? I mean, it's a little bit more complex to solve a problem today when it comes to businesses, simply because there's the landscape is different and changing.
Yep. So again, I just simplify everything. So the thing I hear over and over and over is we're tired of being the best secret out there. So they want to be in news and media and podcasts at a very high level to create validity and credibility for their brand. So my company cuts through all the noise and nonsense. And from a journalistic perspective, clients hire my firm for two reasons. One, I was a journalist for 20 years, wrote 2 to 3 stories on deadline every single day. I actually know what a good story is that media cares about. And two, I'm not sending my media contacts across the world a bad story. So problem solved.
All right. Ish.
Justin, talk to me about, I wanted to know how did it all came together in your earlier years, starting from your, because, I'm talking from a millennial standpoint. I'm, 26-year-old. Lead me through your upbringing through, let's say, when you went to, I believe you went to University of Illinois in Champaign, and how it all came together as a BrEpic came as a whole.
Yeah, so I love having friends of all ages. I think my youngest client has been 23. The youngest person I sent a contract out to was 17, and my oldest client was 75. And I'm an old soul. My dad was 61 when I was born. If he was alive now, he'd be 104. So I'm an old soul in a 43-year-old's body who has the mentality and thinking process of a child. So I'm all of those in one person. And in terms of the origin of the company, I had my job salary cut in half as a journalist, couldn't find a job, incorporated, and over the next 6 weeks, while I worked full-time at half the salary and no one knew what I was doing, I reached out to 5,000 people to get my first 5 clients, so 1 out of 1,000. Got my 5th client, resigned from my job the next day, and then Robert Feeder's the top media columnist in the Midwest, did a story that I had started my own firm. So that was February 10th, 2017 to I think June 5th, 2017. So that's how my company started. But the stories just are in my blood, literally. Again, my father was 61 when I was born. He was a soldier in World War II. He fought in the Battle of the Hürtgen Forest. He was an attorney in the Nuremberg trials. Wow. When he bought in so the wow, right? So wow, that's my whole life is wow, because it's just in me. Wow is in me. So when he was fighting in the Battle of the Hürtgen Forest, he kept a diary of his experiences. And I don't know how he did it, because he was in a foxhole and it was raining on him and there were mortars being blasted at him, but he kept a diary. And so he died when I was 13. I found the diary after he died, and it's my most cherished possession. I read it every now and then, and I write exactly like he does. Exactly. Different words, but the same way. Boom, 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 boom. Inform and entertain. And so that's in me. It's just in me. And my mom was 27 when I was born, so 34-year-old difference. So how did that happen, right? So my dad was driving on the Edens Expressway, which is a north-south highway north of Chicago. And this was before there was a cement barrier. And so there was a grassy knoll, and a drunk driver went through the grassy knoll, hit my dad head on, and should have killed him, didn't. But so my mom was his nurse. My mom was his nurse in the hospital. She nursed him back to health, literally. And so that's where I came from. And so that's what I mean. So this is just my natural, right? Wow. Again.
It's a wow story, right?
So this is right. So I created this, took this wow and turned it into a global company. That's all it is. I just took a wow and turned it into a global company.
So let's talk about global for a second, because how do you, because there's kind of, I want to kind of like break it down for people who are listening, because there's a law of proximity from people today who are looking to start their own business, are starting their own business, are 1, 2, or 3 years into starting their own business. There's a law of proximity of growth from where they are to where they want to grow to global. And so just kind of piggybacking off Ish's question, were you a global company overnight? Did it take you, how long, what was the lineage of, to become global? And not to ask too many questions at the same time, what was that always the goal?
No. When I first started, I was trying to survive. I didn't know what I was doing. No, that was so. Again, mindset one leads to the right network, which creates the right opportunity. And so, right mindset. Number one is right mindset. So, I named my years. A good friend of mine, Joe Martin, he names his years. So he's like, try naming your years. So I called this year global growth. So every day since January 1st, before COVID started, I say global growth, global growth, global. So I say it 5 to 10 times a day. So now I have clients all over the world. I talk to more people in Australia than I do in Chicago. My company's in the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. I'm not Canadian. I just like Canada. So I like Canadians. So I joined the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. I'm in 3 of the top entrepreneurial organizations in the world, which have members all over the world. And once you have a no limits mindset, there are no limits. There are no limits, none. And when you have the right mindset, it attracts the right people, and that creates the right opportunities. And the only people I care about attracting have visionary abundance investment mindset. Visionary abundance investment. And those people are either running high 6-figure to 10-figure businesses. They see their families whenever they want to, and they do what they like to do and what they're good at, or they're going to be one of those people. They're not there yet, but they will be, because they have that mindset. So it just eliminates nonsense. It eliminates noise. That's all my company does. It just eliminates nonsense and noise.
Justin, I wanted to ask you, talk to me about those 5,000 calls, because I know you mentioned you had to make those calls, and then you had to make those clients to survive. And then to piggyback off that, tell me how much your mindset has changed knowing that your company is growing now. And tell me about your goals moving forward now into the next decade.
Yeah, so those are you're a very high level thinker. And I see your brain, how my brain was, but also where your brain is going, where my brain is now, where it will be going. Most people aren't going to understand what I just said, but I know you know exactly what I just said. I know you understand that. So people ask me about how I started this, because most people can't understand how you do this, because then that's why most people can't become entrepreneurs. They can't do it. And so again, I simplify everything, and I see patterns. So I have not met any top entrepreneur, and I mean really top entrepreneur, not a nickel and dime business. I'm talking highest level, that has not overcome at least one of the following four things. At least one, mostly are two or three, and some are all four. The ones who are all four are really successful, but here they are. 1, bankruptcy or potential bankruptcy. 2, depression. 3, the highest level of anxiety you can imagine. 4, possible and or likely traumatic experiences as a child or young adult. So I've not met one entrepreneur that has not overcome at least one of those. I've overcome 3 of those. The only one I haven't had to worry about, knock on wood, is bankruptcy. But that's what separates the highest level entrepreneurs from someone who just gets a job. They can't do this. They can't handle that. Top entrepreneurs can actually thrive in this. And so what I've learned to fully answer your question is that once you realize you can not only survive but thrive in this, then your mindset changes. And then I just hang out with other people at the very highest level. And then when you do that, you become one of those people. And it eliminates all cost scarcity mindset, eliminates all competition mindset. It just eliminates all that. And so it's all collaboration, it's all investment, it's all abundance. And so 99.9% of people, they'll never even think like this. They'll never want to think like this. They'll never understand what I'm talking about, but I don't care, because I'm only attracting the 0.1% of mindsets that do understand it. Those are the only people I want to partner with, because those are the ones that are creating the companies and opportunities that are employing billions and millions of people. And so by working with only the top 0.1% of mindsets, whether they're broke or running the top companies in the world now, I'm actually helping the most people. It's very simple.
What you're talking about is really interesting. You're talking about really putting yourself in a space and raising your frequency and vibration.
Yes.
And studies, show, statistically, that 87% of the world vibrate at a very low level. And
it's got to be more than that.
Yeah, and it takes a lot to really push yourself to realize that the same level of consciousness that got anybody to where they are today, especially in the days of COVID, will not get us to where we want to go tomorrow. So my question to you, Justin, is for somebody who's listening right now who wants to raise their frequency and vibration just 1%, right? Mm-hmm. Just 1%. That takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of energy. If you're not used to what that means, right? How do you take that step to grow 1%?
Yeah, so I try to grow 1% every quarter in terms of that type of mindset. What I found is by trying to do that, I actually grow 10, 25%. Okay. It's almost growing 1% every day. So I'm going to answer it this way because I think this will be helpful for people. Excuse me, it's early, but so every morning, 6 days a week, I don't do it on Sundays, but I run outside no matter the weather condition. So I'm in a jumper now because I finished my run, so it was pitch black, and I have to avoid skunks and when it gets really cold, black ice. But other than that, it's pretty safe. But that's a great way to start the day. And when I'm running, 95% of the time I listen to the very highest level mindset podcasts in the world. Very highest level.
Which ones?
Multiple mindset podcast with Dan Sullivan, and then I just listen to the highest level strategic coach people talk in that one. Darren Hardy has a Darren Daily thing where it's a 5-minute video snippet every Monday through Friday. That's a great way to start the day. And those are the two I really listen to a lot. Steve Sims has a great podcast. So there's a lot of good ones. And I posted this a couple months ago, and it's a really good question that you asked. But I treat my brain like a muscle, like you're lifting weights. It's this. There's no difference. So I'm constantly, I don't necessarily lift actual weights. I run, but I treat my brain like my highest performing muscle, it's what it is. And so I'm constantly training it. I'm constantly working it out. And like what you said, to get that 1%, you have to put a tremendous amount of effort because you're surrounded by people that don't care. They don't want to do it. They don't know how to do it. They just don't care. Yeah. And so again, what I found is, simplifying patterns. I found people like me, usually but not always, they're aliens within their own family, they're aliens within their own community, and aliens within their own vertical. So no one in my family, not my family that I live with now, but no one in my family growing up understood me. No one in my community understands me. My neighbors have no idea what I'm talking about. And when I was a journalist, nobody understood me. They would find weird jobs for me because they didn't know what to do with me. So that's really what it is. It's just a constant quest to find people who actually understand what I'm talking about. And the people who actually understand what I'm talking about are the highest level entrepreneurs in the world. It's very simple.
Now, talk to me about, Justin, coming from the fact that you do think like 0.1%. Now, if you are trying to reach out to those people and trying to provide that value, how do you go about that first if you want to make that connection?
Yeah, so I haven't done outbound sales or direct. I haven't done that in years, because when you have the right mindset, it creates the right network, which creates the right opportunity. So what my company is a giant incubator of geniuses around the world, and we're constantly introducing each other. No outbound sales, no funnels. If you work with the right people and provide value, this is what I've learned. You provide value for this type of person, it leads to this. You do this with this type of person, it leads to this. Do this with it. So it just eliminates all of that. And every Monday through Friday, I probably have between 5 to 10 conversations with the highest level, highest performing people in the world. And then I ask them, how can I help you? Byproduct is I get 3 to 4 intros every single day, Monday through Friday, to companies around the world that want to hire in my firm. There's no outbound anything. And that's, people ask about funnels and stuff, and direct outreach. It's fine, whatever. I just know you partner with the right people, create value with the right people, and it leads to this. And I've seen it in the business cycle. I didn't understand it at first, but now 3.5 years, I see what happens. You do this with this type of person, it leads to this. You do this, it leads to this, and that's all it is.
I want to go back and dive into something, because I think asking for, how can I help you, uncovering pain, finding pain, asking for an introduction, asking for a referral is very difficult for 99.9% of all business people, salespeople, CEOs, etc. And so just the transition, the window, all of that. So just talk for a minute about how you kind of work in that space, because to grow like you've grown, you have to be really good in that pocket.
Yep. So that's a really good question. I spend 100% of my day doing what I like to do and what I'm good at in my unique ability. And my unique ability is connecting people at the highest level on a global level, and then getting people in news at the highest level on a global level. So I work exactly 0 hours every week. None of this is work for me. It's actually fun. It's actually fun. So here's the again, simplifying pattern. So this is what I see when people start a company. It's first you get. I reached out to 5,000 people to get 5 clients, all getting. Then you get to give. You get more, but then you start to give a little. Then you give to get. So you give a lot, you get a little. Now I'm at the point where I just give to give, but there's a caveat to that. I only give to the right people. If it's a nudnik or it's a nickel and dime person, I spend 0 time with that person. But at the highest level of people, I'm constantly giving to give because one, I just like collaborating with them. I like that they understand my brain and that we can grow together. They don't look at things as competition. And then I know they're also going to provide tremendous value for my business, but way more importantly to my life and to my mind. They're providing value to my brain. And that's the real value. Byproduct of that, again, not the direct result, the byproduct is my company profit-wise has grown beyond my wildest dreams. That's a byproduct.
Justin, let me ask you this. Outside of your business, who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for yourself? Are you trying to leave a legacy? Or are you doing it for the sake of others for that highest level that you're trying to chase?
Yeah, so another good question, man. And so that's what I mean. Like, whatever, you're 26 or whatever, who cares? Doesn't matter. Your brain is different than you're just different, but in a good way. And so I'm working on now. I'm 100% simplifier. 100%, which is interesting because I run a PR firm that amplifies others. But me personally, I'm 100% simplifier. So I'm just want to collaborate with 100% multipliers. You can multiply my simplifying genius and just multiply it to the world. And so what that means is creating technology that essentially connects every visionary, abundance, investment mindset person. That's what I'm doing now, but this will multiply that. And the legacy for that is just creating the top connecting platform in the world for only the top level thinking people, not this $1,000 a year subscription BS, not that nonsense. We're talking the very highest level people, so it's a one-stop shop for them to really collaborate at the highest level, and they'll understand that.
Let's talk for a second about PR today, communication today, right? It used to be 20 some years ago that companies really, if a company was doing major PR, it meant they were in trouble. Today, everybody needs to be doing PR. Everybody needs to be doing marketing. Everybody needs to be doing advertising, social media, email lists, right? It's like you have to be in the mix all the time with all of these different tentacles. And so what does a typical client look like to you when it comes to the type of communications they need? Is it, generating new clients in the door? Is it, growing their image? What is it?
Yep. Okay. And I've said it 500 times, but this is how it is. I simplify and see patterns. So what I hear over and over and over and over and over and over again is we're tired of being the best kept secret out there. They have this great technology or written a great book or this great platform, or they've done something since COVID, whatever it is. And they want to be in news or podcasts at the highest level to create validity and credibility for their brand, validity and credibility for their brand. And my company's process is it's all on my website. There's no hidden tricks or anything. This is what my company does. It creates newsworthy stories and links on the client's website under news or blog. It looks like a story you see in the Detroit Free Press or Chicago Tribune or whatever. And I take that link and pitch to the media all over the world. Media's interested, put them in touch with the client. So that's all my company does.
Yeah.
So it solves the problem. So it works for any business size, any location, any vertical, whatever. So that's what I hear over and over. Now, here's the really interesting thing that I've seen since starting this company from a firsthand perspective and from a client perspective. And we're doing it right now, is that podcasts have actually replaced mainstream media in terms of relevance and importance. And again, simplifying patterns, there's 3 reasons why. Here are the 3 reasons. 1, the hosts are almost always entrepreneurs who think like entrepreneurs. They're not journalists. These type of questions, a journalist is never going to ask them because they don't think like this.
Yeah.
So 2, you can do a deeper dive on someone, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. And so it's not a drive-by interview. You really get to know the guest and the host. 3, the audience might not be as large quantity-wise, but quality. A regular person's probably not going to listen to this. I mean, maybe they will, but most regular people they're not understanding what's being said right now. But the highest level entrepreneur will, or someone who wants to be the highest level entrepreneur, they will listen to this. And it's the podcast industry or vertical. It's essentially created an entire commerce marketplace of entrepreneurs. That's what it's done. So I've just seen that from being on podcasts over and over and over. I mean, there was just a big article in Forbes about me, not that pay for play nonsense. Forbes did an article on me this week. That's fine, but that's mostly ego and vanity. The real commerce now is being driven by these podcasts for those 3 reasons.
Yeah, I love it.
Justin, do you see yourself branching out to other aspects and thinking more of a conglomerate in where BrEpic is going, considering you are making those connections with many vastness of expertise?
Yep, another great question. Yeah, and so that's what this technology will do. Again, I'm 100% simplifier, so the multipliers will create that technology that expands this to wherever it goes. I'm just up here flying the plane, right? I don't want to land the plane. I don't know how to land the plane. I can't land the plane. I'm just up here flying the plane, doing what I like to do and what I'm good at. And so the multipliers that's what they're going to do.
Yeah. Let's talk about your book before we move into a quick speed round, Justin. Epic Business. I wrote a book a few years ago. I'm in the process of writing a second book.
Oh, cool.
Talk a little bit about what someone's going to get from reading your book.
Yeah, well, billions of dollars worth of advice for people that look at things like that. I have 2 billionaire clients, but so again, started this business with zero business background. Job salary cut in half. Couldn't find a job. Started a company. Now I have a global company. Okay, so, that is barely just started and it's already, so there was never an intent to write the book. For my company's 30-month anniversary, which was October 16th, 2019, I published a list on my social media platform of 30 things that I had learned from 30 of the top entrepreneurs in the world in the company's first 30 months. So at the time, I think I had 35,000 followers on social media, and people were like, "Oh, you need to write a book. You need to write a book." I'm like, "Okay." So I wrote a book, signed with one of the top micro publishers in the United States, Rebecca Hall-Greider. Chris Voss, who wrote Never Split the Difference, which is one of the top business books in the last 20 years. Anyone who knows anything knows who Chris Voss is or has read Never Split the Difference. So he wrote the foreword. And it's each chapter is one of those lessons in anecdotal form. And just like my dad's diary, it's boom, 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 inform, entertain. So it's really helped a lot of people. It's #1 international bestseller in 6 countries, #1 for entrepreneurship in the U.S. And it's just the greatest key to opening so many doors like this.
I love it. Well, I just bought it on Amazon as you were talking. So boom.
Oh, thanks, man.
And boom, entertain. All right, let's go into a quick speed round, Justin. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. Best piece of wisdom your dad ever gave you?
Man, you're gonna make me cry, man. Every time I think about my dad, I almost want to cry because it's very sad, but also, so the cream always rises to the top. Cream always rises to the top.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What's your favorite book outside of your book?
Blue Fishing by Steve Sims. That's a must read.
That's a great book. I interviewed Steve on my podcast many years ago. He does some outrageous, big thinking things, and it's a great book. And he's a great guy.
I adore him.
Yeah, he's great. Last question. One piece of advice you would give somebody graduating college today?
No, this is speed round, but my sons are 8 and 6. My 8-year-old just started his first business when he was 7. I don't even care if they go to college, but if they do, my wife's a doctor, so I'm sure they'll go to college. But if they do go to college, my only deal breaker is that they must take entrepreneurial classes taught by actual entrepreneurs. That's the only thing I care about.
Amen.
Okay, so right, and I'm the College of Media Alumni Board journalism chair for University of Illinois. I have been for 15 years. So You're asking me what's advice for people who have graduated college? Unlearn as much as you can very quickly.
Did you ever see the movie Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield?
Yeah, come on. I've seen that 300 times. Have I seen that movie?
Right, when he goes to the econ professor, he goes, "You don't know anything."
That's exactly what it is. The guy's sitting here hasn't done anything with his life, with his British accent, driving his convertible. It's nonsense. You just summed up higher education, and that's exactly what it is for the most part. There are exceptions to that, but that's mostly it.
I got one more. Can I ask one more real quick?
Yeah, we got it. 30 seconds.
Justin, if you were to die today, what would you summarize your legacy with one sentence?
I'm a good father.
Right. That's a great last question. Justin, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
LinkedIn, Justin Breen. The book is called Epic Business.
I love it. Justin, I'm so glad we got connected. This was great. I'm a big believer always that business is simple. People make it complicated.
Yes.
I love everything that you shared today, and I appreciate the high level and the simplicity of it all. So thank you, and thanks everybody for listening. Ish, I'll let you close it out.
Thank you guys for joining in Thinking Like a CEO. Make sure you follow Justin on every single social that's out there, especially LinkedIn. And we'll see you guys soon for Think Like a CEO Live.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Justin, thanks, man. We'll talk. Ish, thanks, man.